Traders, actually, just here I am focused on this. Look, I just thought it'd be good for me to just put my headset on, record this. I was about to record session 120, and I just had this set up. Now it could be problematic getting past the major EMAs here. We'll just see how we go. So I am short 10 on the 2-tick RTY. Now this is during the Globex session, so the after hours market. It is actually 10:55 p.m. Central Standard Time. Yes, the market is very slow this time of day, but it's great. There's still some great trading. You don't have massive volume, so if you trade 100 contracts, you're going to have a problem this time of day. However, it gives a trader plenty of time to get in and to manage their trade. Now I'm almost thinking of going down here to break even, maybe lock 1 or 2 ticks in, because there's a very good chance I'll get support, and even potentially, I'm just looking at an anchor chart up above, good chance I could easily bounce here back to the long side. Note here I've now got a higher high. This could potentially end up being a new higher low and a potential reversal. In fact, just up here I've got a major EMA from a higher time frame. So we love in this particular EMA on the time frame and the set of time frames that I use, we love to go up there and kiss those. So there's a chance I could rally up and hit that. So I'm just really waiting just to see here, and I will pull up the disclaimer in a moment. There is a risk in trading. Of course, you're not trading live here with me, so it's not so much of an issue by me not having the disclaimer up yet. I'll pull that up when we go back to the session 120, but I just thought this would be good. Now during the Globex session, as I mentioned, it's a lot slower, and I just marked up legitimate trade entries that I would have taken or could have taken, and why not this one, why not that one? And you can see my super scalper just there, and see the little arrows there, they're hard to see there. That's my 16, that's actually my turning point indicator there, where you'll see. So I've either got the white paint bars, my super scalper I can use, or I can use the turning point indicator. However, the reason I don't want to take that or even this one is because it's something which is very important we look for on the higher time frame on the anchor chart. So what we might do is pause this. Now this is this is good. Okay, I was about to say let's go to break even. See that bounce there? Now because I'm short 10 lots, we'll quite often get a lot of slippage. When I say a lot of slippage, you'll quite often on your exit, if it comes back and stops you out, it'll stop you out 1 tick. Now notice how fast we're moving here. Now I'm just going to quickly, I'm going to go down here to break even, just because look, we'll leave it here at 1 tick, and we'll just see. This will be a great example just to show you what can happen here. So that actually hit 1 2 3 4 5, that hit 6 ticks. Now my target is actually 10 ticks, which is $50 per contract. So here I was short 10 lots, so that would have been $500 less commissions. So commissions would have been, whoops, there we go. So here we I got stopped out here 5, what did I get, 4. So there I got a little bit of slip, but that's not too bad at all. So let me just pause this one moment. So down 31, let me just check this on the dump, 31.80 I had slippage. I was, well, not slippage, but on commission. So basically I got out basically at break even and had a loss there of 31.8. Now I could have stayed with this, but what I'm looking for traders is what I call the 80-20 trades. And when you sell down into a major area of support or resistance, okay, will quite often bounce there. So it's really it lowers the probability. Now see that over here, these ones here, see how we're bouncing off our major EMAs in the direction of the trend. So you can just see how these can give us really strong resistance. Likewise, you can then get strong support. Now the other option I had there, of course, is I could have taken profits, that is selling down into the major area of support and taking profits at that level. But anyway, let's get back to this PowerPoint here. So in today's session I'm going to show you it was 3 recorded trades. I actually recorded one, then hit the wrong button, and so I had to restart it again. So you'll actually see one recording for one of the trades, and I hit exit, save and exit. So anyway, and then I recorded the following 2 trades. So two I'll show you when I get there. All right, so this is session 120 on the RTY, the $1,000 a day challenge. And so what you're seeking, of course, the amount of dollars per day depends on how many contracts you're trading. So I'm going to show you the right way to do it, the conservative way. Traders, so many traders or would-be traders want to run before they can even crawl, and so they set targets that are unrealistic and quite often unattainable. And so yes, a very experienced trader may achieve them, but it's unrealistic for a new trader. And so you'll see there I usually go for a lower target per contract. So you'll see as we go along there. So if 1,000 a day is not enough, you increase your position size. Now here I'm going to be showing you the 4 tick on the RTY, which is in the afternoon session. I'll usually trade the New York session, the 4 tick Renko. Now on the RTY, so in my time frame, what is it, 1 p.m. Central Standard Time is 5 a.m. my time, so that's a good time for me. Now what I'm about to show you, you can apply to the ES. You can apply to any market, whether you trade stocks or futures. Here the exact same thing to the YM. The NQ is far too fast to trade. The time frame that I'm trading here is too fast, but we'll talk about that as we go along. So as I did mention, traders, there is a risk in trading. Don't trade with money. So I'm just watching the markets here. Don't trade with money that you can't afford to lose. Now I just wanted to show you just here what we were just talking about. Where is that? Just go back here, sorry. So there it is there. See what I mean about how you find support. So, and that's where really I should have taken profits at here. Higher high. So what is the footprint to a trend, by the way? A footprint to a trend quite often, or even a new trend direction, is when we make a new higher high followed by a new high low. Now it is the Globex session. It is 11 p.m. And so it is a quiet time of day. Now you can see there we could have actually, for members watching this, we could have taken this, but if I look at the higher time frame, it's actually still in a downtrend. So it could be that we break this swing and come on down. Now to make it easier, if you really want to stay on the right side, this is a challenging area because we've got flat EMAs. So on the 3 trades we're about to look at in a moment, you'll see why they were such good trades. So as I mentioned, there is a risk in trading. Now very quickly, I'll just do a quick advertisement. If you haven't already downloaded my training manual, please feel free to click on the description link below. Even better still, become a member of mine. First of all, make sure you subscribe to my channel, and if I go back and forwards, I don't have a script that I run to. Okay, and even better still, join me as a member. For $197 you get all of my indicators. If you're using a trading platform that I don't use, I'm using NinjaTrader or TradeStation, I give you the exact settings that you can set up and model everything I do on basically any trading platform. So it's only $197, and I've got a bonus going at the moment where you can also attend 8 live 2-hour coaching sessions. So every Tuesday and Wednesday evening, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. If you can't attend, the live sessions are recorded, where I'm teaching you step by step how to trade, but I also cover a whole lot more: psychology of trading, how to trade the setups, and just a whole lot more. End of advertisement. Let's now get into this. Now, trading is a business, and what I'm about to show you can be a game changer for you and your family and your financial future, but you've got to approach it this way. Unfortunately, so many traders are sold the idea that you can start trading with a small account, risk 5% and make money, and what happens is you blow your account 2 or 3 times. It just, the psychological damage, even though you may not lose a lot of money, is enormous, and you tend to then hesitate in taking a trade. Well, let me ask you, what would it mean to you if you could earn an extra $5,000 to $10,000 a week? Would that change your financial future? Well, of course it would. So I'm going to show you how to do it correctly, the right way. Now, if you want to be super conservative, I'll just watch the markets here. Trade 10 contracts at $100 a day. That's $1,000 a day. If you trade 5 at 200. Now, the market we're going to be looking at, as I mentioned, is the RTY 4 tick, and as you're about to see, 200 a day per contract is extremely realistic and very achievable. Now, you'll see there that I'm using Renko charts. You can apply my strategies to basically any of these time frames. I love tick charts and I love Renko. You can use hard charts, Heikin-Ashi, range, time, of course, but I found what's best with traders that either are brand new or struggling is either tick or Renko charts. Now, another very important thing here, traders, is to stop looking for reasons why the setups, why the trades won't work out. The only reason what I'm about to show you here will fail, the only 2 real reasons usually, is your failure to enter the trade through to either you're hesitating or fear or other reasons, or you're trading a time frame that's not tradable. In other words, it's too fast. What we're looking for here is 80-20 trades, and we're looking for bounces off trending EMAs, and there's a number of other rules which we won't get into in this session, but mind you, I'm going to point out a lot of the logic when we go to the charts in a moment. And when I say go to the charts, go to the live trades that I've recorded here. These strategies, you've got to think like a casino. That is, any trade, any individual trade, anything can happen. We can have the best of the best trend following setup. However, something can happen and it goes against us. We've got to think in trade lots of 20. Now, what we want to be doing here is we're looking for ideally pullbacks on the lower time frame, and then a trend continuation in the direction of the higher time frame, which is exactly what I thought would happen, which is now happening on the other time frame, on the anchor chart, as I mentioned. And we'll have a look at that. Let's just let it go, and we'll go back to the live chart there. So what am I looking for with any market, whether it be in futures, forex, or stocks? You're looking for a market that's got some volatility, gives you waves, and that trends well, okay, and of course has good daily volume. And that's when in today's video I'm talking about trading the RTY. Is the RTY the NQ, of course the ES, oil. With the ES, you don't get as greater waves on the ES as what you will say on the RTY, and then you got the extreme where you'll get the NQ. but the NQ can be a real beast. In fact, we call it either the nasty NAS or the nifty NAS, depends where you are and how you're going trading it. But once again, what I'm about to show you, if you like the YM, you could even have that up on another screen and trade that almost at the same time, but that's another story for another time. So to trade this, to do it correctly, to risk no more than 2%, which is the correct way, you need to have a trading account of what I'm about to show you, of $4,000. What if you don't have $4,000? Well, now you can start on the micro. Remember, you can do this of course on many of the best markets now have a micro account. So whether you trade oil, or if you want to trade the YM here, I don't know why, but they call the micro the M2K, but there it's 50 cents a tick, and you can start with as little as $400. Even if you've got $4, $8, $10, $12,000, $50,000, it's still a great spot to start, because you can make all the mistakes you're going to make and it's not going to hurt you. And so of course what we want to do first of all is start on the simulator. But as I'm about to show you here, and we will go to the live recordings, is that based on netting only $20 a day in 12 weeks, your account's now 4620, as you're about to see on the spreadsheet. You can now switch over and start trading the big contract. What this actually means here is, if you started on a micro, went over to the big contract, you have the potential within 24 weeks to be earning your 10,000 a week. But if you then allow for time on the simulator, let's say it's 40 weeks, but where will you be in 40 weeks time? Now you're going to see the setups that you should be trading to achieve this. So let's first of all look at this. So yeah, and you can, by the way, you can go down on the description link below and you can actually download my spreadsheet here, which you can adjust and play with. I've even recorded a little training video on how to use this correctly. So here, if you're going for $20 a day, that's 20 ticks a day. And how this compound sheet works is you only start trading a second contract once you double your money. So when you go from $400 to $800, you can start trading 2. When you've got $1,200, you can start trading 3. So what this means is by week 12 on $20 a day, you got the potential of either earning $1,000 a week and just sticking with that, or rolling over and trading the big contract. And the reason you'll actually probably want to do that is the commissions are a lot lower. Okay, so there's a big saving in commission. There's a reason why you mightn't wish to do that, and which is beyond this session, is money management, is scaling back as you have losses, where rather than scaling up and pyramiding and having all sorts of issues, you can cut back. Another story for another time. So here, if we follow this plan, you can start trading the big contract, and really you only need 3 to 4 scalps a day. And then once we roll over to the big contract, I mentioned here that you need $4,000, and what that means is you're never risking any more than 2% per trade. So that's the deal, traders. You never ever risk more than 2%, and this is one of the fatal mistakes. And you know what, a lot of traders are switching off now. They don't want to continue to watch this video. They just want to see the price action, and they wonder why they're failing as traders. Now if you're also you decide to put in more time, I believe in get in, get out, get paid. Okay, getting paid for it now and hitting a target. If you, in other words, if you want to then stay with it and say have a target of 300 a day, look where you are in 8 weeks. Potential there of 12,000 a week. Here you're there within 12 weeks. I believe in the power of quitting. POQ, hit a target, get out. So if you're perhaps a young gun, you want to be trading maybe 3 hours a day, this is also another alternative. Here once again, you're not trading sorry, you're not risking any more than 2% per trade just here. So let's go to the charts, and when I say in this case today, we'll go and have a look at these live trades, and I will look over and switch over, and as I mentioned, it's bounced. Sure enough, it's bounced off a support and it's now heading long, but we'll look at these trades in, and on the recordings. Sorry, I'm watching the market here now. You're actually got something unique today that you're going to be looking at, because I'm going to be talking to you. These trades are all what I call pivot magnet trades, or T28s, we give it a nickname. But with it, when we trade, these are the key areas that we want to be watching for. Where are our pivot levels and cam pivots? I use 2 pivot levels. You can just get away with 1, 2 pivot indicators if you like. We also want to be considering where are the prior days open, high, low and closed levels, and that's where pivots are actually, they use those levels in there. Your major EMAs being the 89 and 200, our intraday swing highs and lows, and the current day's high and low. If you're a brand new trader, all of these are calculated and plot on your charts automatically. When you first start trading, they're easy to learn with training. Okay, so and when you start trading, in fact, you only want to trade a couple of setups. So we'll probably talk about that when we get to the charts. Now, just to quickly do this here. So remember I said we should have really perhaps covered, exited our trade down here, and then we had another setup right here. So yes, we could have taken this bounce, and for members watching this here, for actual fact, let me just show you this just here. If we go from there to there, look what you've got right there, an exact 50% retracement. Now, fib levels can be discretionary, that it's something you'll see every day, and for newer traders they're easy to learn. Now, very important, that setup there is not based upon a fib level, but if ever you have a reversal and a setup as I had right here, higher high and a higher low, that's then supported by fib support, that becomes what we call a loaded trade. So we just had a loaded trade just there. Now if you missed that one, you had another entry just here. Now remember I mentioned the higher time frame EMA. We'll come back to that at the end of this session, but see how we've come up and we've now hit that. But let me pause the video and let me pull up the first recording. Okay traders, so there's no sound on this. So what I'll do quite often, if I'm trading, I might just go and put on the recorder, but what I usually don't like to do is talk and trade. Yes, I know there are some moderators, and I do run a live trading room, but there are some that love the talk and trade. But really, when you're trading, you should be focused. Okay, so here I've just got the recording going and I'm thinking about the setups. You'll actually watch me and see me, and I don't know if you can see my pointer moving here, by the way, as this recording's going, but you'll sometimes see I'll move my stops up and down. That is, once I'm in the money, I'll then manage a trade. I'm just checking out another market just there, just seeing what's happening there. And so you'll quite often see me do that. So we'll go back. This is the 4 tick. So remember here, you're after your $200 to $400 a day per contract here. And so just here I'm short 8 contracts. So and down here my target is the pivot. So remember a moment ago, and there is the current day's low. Now this is where these become predictable. That is, we as professional traders, we sell and buy into pivot levels, whether it be the high of day, low of day, a swing level, etc. So here you can see my target is down here at this pivot. Now what actually happened, I was recording this, you'll see this was a winning trade. I then clicked on the wrong button and it still saved the video, but it stopped recording. it'll keep going for a while longer. But here, and this is where front running comes in. You'll hear me talk about front running quite often. Front running traders is where, and you may notice I'm one tick above the pivot itself. Pivots are zones. They're not necessarily an exact area, but when we sell or buy into a pivot, quite often I will front run, and here I'm only front running by, I think it's one tick, and as you'll see here, I don't get filled on all of my contracts. Now we're coming down to the pivot, so you can see here I'm dragging down and basically trailing now. So I'm coming down, I'm trailing, and now I'm out. So here I wasn't filled. And did I get filled? I think it might have, did I get, no, maybe it come out and it might be on another recording, on the next recording in a moment. Okay, so this will finish in a moment, but what I want you to notice here is what happens at the pivot. I might even fast forward this a bit. Now we missed the pivot by one tick, so I got out of that. Still nice little profit there. Okay, we got out, and then we have a retracement, and this is something of course we can get. Now if your stops up here, you can stay with the trade, but as scalpers, as day traders, get in, get out, get paid. So what I look for now is another trade entry. So let me now pull up the next recording. Okay, we're back. So I've got this recording, so you can see this original trade we recorded, and now I'm in another one. Now for members watching this, these that one there, this one here, this one here, these are all 2Bs, so just plain vanilla trade entries. There's nothing special. You can see here the black dots. It's what I call my rule of one entries if I choose to take them, my white super scalper, and then I've got there my turning point indicator, which is the arrows. And just notice down here I've now come down to the pivot. Now see how my target is on the other side of the pivot. So now I've covered, I'm out of that pivot. Now if I have a trade entry, and typically I will be after, and let me just pause the video here for a moment. So just so you know, on the 4 tick, what it means is each little step you can see there is worth $10. So typically I'm after between 8 and 10 steps, sometimes less, sometimes more, but basically $80 to $100 per contract traded per trade. Now you may have noticed there that on the ATM on your trading platform, automatically I've got it set up, but it means that when I enter a trade, my target may be on the other side of the pivot. So in case I get a pivot bounce, as we can see we're getting right here, what I'll actually do is drag my stop down, and so you could see there I've exited right basically just slightly above that pivot just there. But yes, we could say, well, what if we stayed in it? And you'll see, yes, we continue back in the downtrend. Well, I prefer, once again, because what if we're reversing? For an example, just here we do have a little bit of divergence like you had there, even though you got a strong downtrend, but we could be reversing. In fact, you'll find some of your best reversal trades are off pivot levels. So let me now continue this here for you. This goes for about 7 minutes. So that's what I call a PB, or a pivot bounce, and you can trade those, but you want to keep your stop very, very tight. Okay, so here that was still a nice little trade, not as much as I would have liked on that particular setup. Now what I'm just checking here is you'll see me drag it up and down quite often. I'm looking to find out where are the pivots above and below. Why? Because they ultimately, now see this down here, so I know if I break this pivot, I've got a Camarilla pivot, so I've got a standard pivot here, got a Camarilla, and now down here I've got the current day's low. They're price magnets for me. Now in my training I teach you how to trade these correctly. So within my Day Traders Fast Track program, investment $197, you'll get back potentially in one trade. I'm teaching you how to trade all of these. These are not rocket science. They're based on logic, and as I mentioned, the reason these strategies don't work is if the time frame's too fast, or you're trading in chop, which is easy to identify, or you're not executing the trade due to it's too fast or fear. Now what I'm looking for here, traders, just to and the market's still rising, by the way, with those setups, as I mentioned, or with the potential setups on the higher time frame. We'll look at those before we finish up today. But down here is my target. So are we going to be able to get down to there? Let me just fast forward this a bit, because now here you can see here, now just note here, I've come down, I've actually hit my target, and I've only been filled on one contract. Now I'm front running the pivot, so I'm thinking, do I pull it down? Do I get out here? And you can see here now, not quite out. Do I do or not? And I've got to tell you, sometimes you're not quite sure what is it going to bounce? Do I have divergence, for an example, on a higher time frame, or do I stick with it? Well, we can see here we had a very, very strong downtrend, traders, as you can see just there. So I'm still thinking I might just stick with this. Let's just fast forward this a bit, and I did, and I ended up so here it come down, and eventually just going back there on that recording, and I got filled. Okay, and what I'm saying here is the current low of day is down below. Now I've already hit my target for the day. In fact, if we go and have a look at this slide here, I'm up 1951, trading 8 contracts in 20, and by the way, this is only 25 minutes. Now some traders say, why not keep trading? Well, you can keep trading, but I believe POQ, it's about lifestyle as well. Now what was I going to say here? Let's go back and just check out what's happening just here on this trade. So, well, we're not actually in this trade, but these are plain vanilla trade entries, and the reason being, as I mentioned, at that higher high, I shorted it. I set up, as I mentioned, should have covered there, and I think at the start of the video I said we may very well bounce here. You got all this support, and as we saw, it was a fib level. You could have then gone long there, here, and even this little this is called a rule of one just here. So note here, we've now coming up when we're now hitting pivots. See how close these pivots are? I'm recording this on a Sunday, or it's actually Monday down under in Australia, and the way I calculate my pivots, I work on Sunday price action. Okay, so I'm thinking we could come up to any of these pivots. Whoops. So a very good chance we'll rally up. Now and this, by the way, I think I might have said this at the start, this is the 4 tick, sorry, take that back, this is the 2 tick. Now during the Globex session, if we were to trade the 4 tick, now that is the 4, it's so much slower. So that's like there, that's what's that, about 3 hours of price action. So during the Globex session, after hours, generally we're going to trade a lower time frame. Okay, so if you're trading a lower time frame, and I may as well explain this to you, and let me actually show you this here on my spreadsheet here. If you're trading this time of day, you only really, to stay within your risk parameters of never risking more than 2%, you only need 2,500 in your account, or 250 if you trade the micro. So a really sensible and a very, very achievable figure to target is 125 a day. per contract. So if you're starting off with 2,500, you can see there, if your income, you've got an income goal there of around your 10 grand a week, you can be looking at there being there in 15 weeks. But let me just say this about the Globex session. If you're targeting that, you'd be trading 20 contracts, and unless you're trading the pre-New York Open 20 contracts, you're going to get a lot of slippage, particularly on your exits if you're stopped on a trade. Okay, because if you look at market depth here, yes, we've got 10, 5, 2, 10, 20 contracts maximum. So is it realistic, for an example here, to be trading 100 lots during a Globex session? You can trade it, but you're not going to always get filled with the type of orders that I use unless you get a lot of slippage. Now what this means also is if you started off with $250 and you're going for the equivalent of, then let's just make it here $13 per day, you've now got your 2,500 to start trading the big contract there in 11 weeks. You can then roll over, so you can start here, as you can see, with a small account. But back into what I was saying earlier, on the 2 tick, every step here then is only worth $5 instead of $10, but we're trading on a lower time frame. Now what's in front of us, and what I'm checking here is just checking where are the pivots. So traders, we've covered a lot. In fact, we've got nearly 40 minutes in today's session. So why don't you become a member? We've got a brand new members area, by the way, being launched this Friday, which is an absolute gold mine when you see the amount of resources I've got for you. But one question I have comes up regularly: I'm a new trader, do I have to trade all of the setups? Absolutely not. Okay, so trading your 2Bs into pivots, that's what we call them, very, very high probability one setup. Okay, and I prefer to use, as you'll usually see, a fixed target unless the pivot is a little further away. And by the way, we just don't target pivots. If you're in a choppy market, it's a lot more difficult, but you get as I mentioned, $197. There's dozens of recordings where you can see explaining the trades and live trades, etc., all the main indicators. But you also can attend some of my live sessions. And no, we're still in a I was looking for a reversal there, we're still in a strong uptrend. So traders, thank you for watching. So this was on the RTY, and hopefully I'll see you in one of my classes, and in my next video session 121. Thanks traders, cheers.